Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Aries energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as high vibe Aries energy. The bottom row, a more worldly, shadowy Aries energy. We all tap into Aries energy, and like in a world of duality, we kind of have our more shadowy, worldly Aries energy, and we have our more high vibe Aries energy. And, you know, we got to make these decisions in our life. And some people could be battling within themselves right now. The top row can talk about things we would like to do that maybe we're not doing right now. But the bottom row can kind of represent our comfort zone, and we all kind of like to stay in our comfort zone. The bottom row can represent how we're living our life right now, some of our fears, our insecurities. For some people, they're not battling within themselves. Some people work through something and they are moving forward in life differently. And some people could be happy living their life the way they were living it. You know, we all kind of can... You know, it's kind of, the truth sets us free. We heal, we grow, we mature, we temper our ego, our self-limiting belief, something that kind of helps us move forward in life a little differently. And some people, you know, they don't have a problem with the way they're living their life right now. Like, we all have those phases of life, kind of where we're putting in work and effort and hoping that when we're kind of ready to move forward in life differently, that the people in our life will be ready to move forward in life differently too, you know? So it's kind of interesting that we have a lot of cards not showing themselves. The reason for the top rows reading is the despair card. I have another channel called I Alone Fly Tarot, and I did the Aries reading just earlier today. And I'm pretty sure that was the reason for the reading on that channel also. So we could have been in something down here. We have the courtship card, which I view as the Two of Cups, which is Cancer energy. We could have been in friendships, relationships, and jobs with people. Some people maybe with a Cancer. But with the Two of Cups can just represent a soulmate in our life. And maybe some things are going on with someone, whether that's adult child, brother, sister, mom, dad, friend, romantic partner, where the despair card's kind of like the Five of Cups, which is Scorpio energy, which, like Cancer, is emotional water sign energy, where we could feel like someone has some regrets about the past that maybe they haven't dealt with, and maybe, you know, it's still impacting them and how they interact with other people in their life because they have, or they're just in a relationship with someone else and so are sad, you know? But sometimes it can be that the bottom row can kind of talk about these things that manipulate us, and we could have people in our life that there's kind of some things that manipulate them that maybe don't manipulate us. And we've maybe kind of worked through that, and we've kind of dealt with some of those regrets in our life, offered ourselves love and compassion and forgiveness, and offered love and compassion and forgiveness to some other people in our life to not keep feeling like we missed an opportunity in love. And it could just be a grieving process because people moved or people passed away or something. Scorpio is also represented by the Death card. But up here in the top row, we have the Community card, which is, I view as the Three of Pentacles, which in high vibe is kind of, you know, that we've freed ourselves from something that used to manipulate us, and we're kind of working with all three aspects of ourselves. The masculine cards can represent our more worldly, egoic nature. The feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. And the child can be our more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And some people work through some of these issues. There was things that they loved and people they loved at one time and ways of living life that they lived life. But there could have been something about it that maybe wasn't aligned with our truth, where, again, we could have gotten in friendships and relationships with people because we were more emotionally manipulated and caught up in these things of the world. And then we kind of freed ourselves from those things because shadowy Capricorn is the devil card, and that can represent all these things that manipulate us. And we could be sad that other people that we love have these things that manipulate them, that keep them maybe more focused on relationships of the past that didn't work out than working with people in their life who could be in their life and appreciating the people in their life who are working with them more cooperatively in love. And then we have the false person. And the way I interpret that is that, for one, we always have our shadow nature with us, and our shadow nature tries to stop us from moving forward in our life. It's always trying, our shadow nature doesn't like us being more independent of our shadow nature. Our shadow nature would like to be in the driver's seat of our life. It would like us to indulge in our more immature, prideful, defensive, immature nature, right? Because it's kind of like we're a vessel, a human being, and there's all these options in our free will. I can choose hope and faith and belief and love, or I can choose to be defensive, and I can be more self-indulgent, and kind of like those energies, we give them life. And so they only have life if we embody them and love them and work together with those things. And so our shadow nature always tries to stop us, and other people in shadowy energy can try to stop us. And as we're kind of moving forward, we could just have some more shadowy people in our environment, and that can make us sad, kind of looking for people who aren't shadowy, And sometimes we're going through that kind of season in life. Like there's spring, winter, fall, and summer. Sometimes we're going through a dark period in our life, or we're just somewhere where, we could be dealing with that there's just more shadowy people in our life, in our surroundings. And we can be sad because there's no one for us that seems to, we could have some people in our life that we're working with. We might like more people in our life to work with, but maybe those people aren't in our life right now. So we keep putting in the work and effort to not get put in despair and kind of align with people who are more shadowy. Not let it throw us into negative energy. And sometimes there's people in our life that are being shadowy because the whole point is they don't want us to keep loving and believing in ourselves and being more independent. And then if we're working with those people, though we could have love for them, regardless, again, of who they might be in our life, high vibe energy is about seeing the truth. And we can have a hard time with some more mismatched, imbalanced relationships in our life with some people that of wanting to see the truth because we'd like them to work together with us and we'd like to move forward with them. But eventually, we maybe can't hide from the truth anymore. And I'm not going to keep working with people who seem to be happy being hurtful, unkind, bossy, controlling, superficial, shallow, manipulative, wanting to have us indulge them or be in the relationship more for the status or the ego or the image or the codependency. And though we're sad, some high vibe people in their Aries energy, I can have love for people, but if they make in their free will choose to be more shadowy, I'm going to free myself from shadowy people, even though it makes me sad. Because I'm sad in the relationship. And the Five of Cups can be, where we feel, again, like people aren't working together with us from a foundation of love, though we could love them, you know, maybe their idea of love and what they think is just and fair of how to treat people, we could just feel like they haven't learned some lessons in life about working together with people in a just and fair way. And they want to move forward with some people in their life. Not still, they don't want to see the truth either. And then we can kind of work with them, and we kind of don't want to see the truth. And so the false person card is kind of reminding me of like the devil or the Seven of Swords, where we want this dream to come into reality, but we keep feeling like things aren't moving forward the way we wanted, like things don't seem to be just and fair. And we kind of don't want to see the truth because we don't want to move on from them. Well, let's go look at the bottom row. The reason for the bottom row's reading is the expectation card not showing itself. I kind of view the expectation card as, oh, and it's a feminine figure, so it can be about how we think and feel. Hoping, even though, you know, people don't know it, and, you know, and the other people, it kind of all goes maybe unspoken. But, you know, we can all be in friendships and relationships. They can have their expectations of how they want to move forward, what they think is just and fair, their idea of the dream life. And we have our expectations of our idea of the dream life and how we want to work together with. And again, in Scorpio, it could be that someone wants to be in more deep, meaningful relationships. But in order to be in more deep, meaningful relationships, people have to get out of their ego. And some people love operating more from their ego, which can be their more self-protected, defensive nature. It's kind of their false persona, their false person. Their ego kind of runs their life, and they maybe don't let their more hopeful, believing, loving nature come out to play because they've been hurt before. And so they decided, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. I do want to be in friendship or relationship, but I'm not going to be my more authentic self. And Aries is kind of represented by willing to take those leaps of faith. Some people gave up that. Nope, not going to take a leap of faith in love anymore. Do I want to be in friendship or relationship? Yes, I'm not going to take a leap of faith in love anymore. High vibe Aries represented by the Emperor. Am I willing to grow and heal and mature myself and be kind of like a good leader in my own life and learn these lessons? And in turn, when I have to take other people into account that will be affected by my decisions, I'm willing to take those people in account. And some people, they don't want to do that in their own life. They don't want to do it for others. And some people in shadowy Aries, because Aries energy is about the self, some people are just more about themselves. You know, and we could feel like they have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. And they got some growing up and maturing to do, but they might not want to see the truth of that. You know, we have to, Aries is fire sign energy, which can talk about what we're motivated and inspired by. And some people have no motivation and inspiration to maybe, you know, get more balance within themselves, connect, have their worldly nature, have their emotionally intuitive, creative, inspired nature, and their hopeful, believing nature. It's like, no, I don't want to work with that foundation. I want to work with, it's just more about maybe me. We either are like a good mother, father, coach voice to ourselves to grow up our kind of more immature, shadowy nature, to be less immature, less full of ourselves, less impulsive and self-indulgent. Or we're kind of bad parents to ourselves and we indulge our more immature nature. And some people might like to indulge their more immature nature. So for people that had been or are in a more mismatched relationship, we can all have our fears in love and being in relationship with other people. Who gets more caught up maybe in their fear or up in their head, and then they decide to align with their more defensive nature or self-protective nature? Well, that can probably sabotage some relationships, and then other people kind of don't trust them anymore. And we all have been fallible human beings. We've all been more immature. We've all made mistakes in our life. Some people work through those things. They offer themselves love. And they do grow up and mature themselves. And they learn how to maintain better balance within themselves. They offer love kind of to their shadow nature to work through those regrets of the past so that they can not have those things manipulate them the way they did. Can we still be sad? I guess, we could always communicate our truth to people if we feel really bad about it, depending on what we did, where we would communicate our truth to people that I did get up in my head. I was more immature. And some people have done that. And because the pentacles can talk about bringing something into the 3D world. And some people have done that. And they've expressed their regrets that I had some lessons learned. The bottom row can represent some patterns that we keep repeating because maybe we hadn't learned to love ourselves. Maybe we hadn't worked through our regrets of the past. And then when we do that and we work through it, we kind of free ourselves from it. Well, then we could communicate that to other people. And then those people kind of have to work through it, about there may be mental conflict, kind of viewing the false person as like the devil or the 7 of Swords. It can kind of get us up in our head. We'd maybe need to take into consideration how some friendships or relationships ended. Listen to our intuition. Some people can be sad because maybe they got in a different relationship with someone, and then maybe someone else did free themselves from things that manipulated them. And then those people want to work with them. And then it could cause a mental conflict about, and they'd really maybe have to work through what is my truth. Have I been, and how I'm living my life now, or people I'm in relationship with, do I think those people are in the relationship with me for the right reason? Do I think I'm in the relationship with them for the right reason? Could I have gotten in the relationship because I was sad? Could the other people have gotten in a relationship with me because they were sad? Is this my truth? Isn't this my truth? And some people really could have to. And some people were hiding maybe that they were waiting for someone else to be in a relationship with. And, shadowy, sometimes when we're in shadowy energy, sometimes people can create an illusion that they're more motivated and inspired by what the new friendship or relationship or job that they took than they really are. And then, but there too, we can get in relationships and we can move forward in relationships. And there can come a time where we could think, I don't think this is my truth. And it can really, cause us a lot of inner angst to tell someone. I think people who have resolved some past issues and they are committed to that new relationship and are more willing to maybe communicate their truth if they feel like something doesn't seem right. The people who might feel like that wasn't really their truth, they might kind of go about things to try to get out of the relationship in a way that is a little more unjust or unfair, or even if they know someone in their life is kind of ready to move forward in life a little differently. They've worked through some of their regrets of the past, and they're in a relationship with someone who, well, I don't want to move forward differently. They could be controlling or manipulative. That can be shadowy Aries trying to control or manipulate someone to stop them from maybe loving and believing in themselves so that they keep staying in the relationship. But by that time, we might have already realized someone kind of is in the relationship for the wrong reason, or they're kind of shadowy. But then we can have a hard time getting out of the relationship. And sometimes that's what shadowy people are counting on, that we won't love and believe in ourselves enough and we'll stay in a relationship even though someone is being kind of manipulative or controlling or immature or something, right? So let's go look at these cards that aren't showing themselves. So the way I would interpret this is, with some of the people that we have more mismatched relationships with, we didn't realize we harness these energies differently. We all could have been sad at one point in time, met someone, get in a relationship, but we didn't realize that we harness these energies differently till, as we keep moving forward in the relationship. What are they? Message of concern, great fortune, child, and the house. Again, we can all have fears about, we want to be in friendship and relationship with people. That's what the great fortune can represent, which is kind of like the Ten of Pentacles, Virgo energy. We all want, to be in relationship, as part of being a human being. We want to have community, friendship, and relationship. And the house card is like the Four of Wands, which is Aries energy. We want to come together with other people in joy and celebration. And so we can all want those things. It's just that some people, Virgo energy can talk about doing some of this inner work to work through some of those regrets of the past and to deal with the truth of it. And maybe Virgo energy can talk about investing time, energy, and effort in truth and love. And then we have the child card and we have the Aries card. And again, Aries energy is about the self. Some people have issues about investing time, energy, and effort into seeing the truth that they need to love themselves and work through some of these issues of their past, and they can look to get in relationships with other people to be the answer. And then they move forward in relationships, but those issues still are there because they didn't put in the work and effort to work through those things, or to maybe even, since Scorpio's emotional water sign, to emotionally grow and mature themselves. And, we have these four aspects of ourself: our heart, our mind, our 3D nature, our creative passion nature. Everybody can decide at different stages of their life what they want to invest their time, energy, and effort into. And some people could have thought growing and maturing themselves emotionally, that wasn't as important. They could have been more about kind of shadowy child card. It can be where you kind of just want to indulge yourself, maybe in relationships. Well, if they get in relationships with other people who are motivated and inspired, and the child in that case, kind of like the pages, they are inspired to be in relationship with people, not just to indulge themselves in it. And they are wanting to put in work and effort to maybe heal and grow and mature themselves, to be in more deep, meaningful relationships. Not to just indulge themselves in it, and not just being more about themselves and their own self-interest, which could be what some other people's issues were that people could have dealt with, where they were just kind of more about, well, I indulge me, you should indulge me, that's my truth, that's my idea of the dream life, that's the kind of relationships I want to be in, or I want to be more immature, or Other people could have wanted to, kind of the Ten of Pentacles can talk about being in a long-term foundation, possibly getting married and having children, and other people didn't. And, you know, hopefully when we're in a relationship with people, we kind of work through those issues. Virgo can talk about kind of what's your long-term plan, what kind of, again, drives and motivates you. A more worldly Virgo energy that anyone could harness can be, my truth is I'm kind of more about these things of the world. And at certain stages of our life, yeah, we can be more focused on our education and our career and things like that, right? But some people always make it more about the world. The driving factor for getting in a relationship, staying in a relationship, could be more about these things of the world. I want to be in a relationship. Do you want to be in a relationship? Great. That's part of my idea of a great life. But maybe not seeing that motivated and growing and maturing themselves. Do I want to get in a relationship? Do I maybe want to get married? Yeah, but oh, by the way, I'm more about myself. I'm kind of more immature. I think I should be the more indulged person in the relationship or something. Just have maybe some ways of being that they think is just and fair, and ways of viewing life that aren't the way other people view life. And, other people's long-term goal in their Virgo energy is, do I want some of these things of the world just like everyone else? Yes. High vibe energy is about being balanced. I want some of these things of the world and go indulge in some of these things of the world just like everybody else. But my foundation of self is more motivated and inspired to keep growing and healing and maturing myself, work through my fears, my insecurities. I don't like those things manipulating me, and I want to work together with other people who do that. And, we maybe don't talk about those things. We move forward in a relationship, and later on in the relationship, we kind of realize that what some people's long-term goals are and what kind of drives and motivates them is different. And our idea of why we're getting the relationship, why we stay in the relationship, if we want to do more deep, meaningful relationships, if we think it's just and fair to be more manipulative or prideful or stubborn or immature. And other people are like, I thought, you know, and sometimes people aren't showing that they think those things are kind of just and fair till later. Sometimes people hide that until they do get people to get in a relationship, a more involved relationship or a marriage. And then it's like, oh, now that I got this person in the relationship, that can be a form of manipulation. Because I know they could love me and they want this dream to come into reality. Oh, now I think I can start being my true self. And I think I can slowly over time maybe start kind of being more immature, being more deceptive, being more manipulative, being more about myself. Being a little shadowy energy can be competitive, treating your partner like they're the competition you need to defeat, kind of liking to belittle and berate other people to make yourself feel more powerful or important or something, right? Well, what do we do when we end up in a situation like that? Or even an employer who's like, oh, we're really loving and encouraging and supportive. And then you take the job and then it's like, oh shit, that is not the truth of who they are. And then we're in it. And so then some people who found themselves in that situation, we can all want the things that we've invested in to work out the way that we wanted. And Scorpio is kind of that emotional water sign. Cancer can be us getting into something, but then Scorpio can be the water sign energy that we tap into when we're in the midst of something. It's fixed sign energy. We're putting in work and effort to make something work. And then it's not working. And we could kind of feel like maybe we didn't listen to our intuition, and maybe we didn't, because we wanted these things of the world. And, We can have lessons learned about listening to our intuition, and then we can end up in regret that, shit, I should have listened to my intuition. Sometimes, we really were kind of caught up in these things that we wanted to manifest, and that could have kind of tilted us more in favor of maybe not listening to our intuition. And we could have gotten ourselves in some things, we wanted a job, we wanted a relationship, we wanted to get married, we wanted to have children, whatever the case could be. And then what if we find out later that, our long-term goals and all that, we're not on the same page? Well, then, are we going to, we can all be manipulated kind of in our want for these things of the world. We're in a relationship. We would like that relationship to work. There could be stability and security with it. But our high vibe nature could be sad that we're not listening to our intuition and that we're staying in something where we could feel our more loving nature is being manipulated. And then we've got to go through this process of loving ourselves enough to be willing to deal with the truth, of loving ourselves enough to not settle for an illusion, to be more manipulated by our worldly nature and our ego and our fear and our codependency, if you want, to love ourselves enough to free ourselves from things that we do not think are aligned with our truth. Less about being in our ego. What will people think? What will people say? High vibe energy can be, I adhere to a higher truth and justice, and even though all these things might bother me and kind of manipulate me, I need to listen to my truth, and especially if I think someone was deceptive maybe from the beginning and I didn't know it, or just that is their truth. That, oh, you kind of are more defensive to love. I didn't realize that. And this is never going to be a more deep, meaningful relationship. Well, if my dream was to be in a more deep, meaningful relationship, and I'm in a relationship with someone where everything looks great in a way, by worldly standards, that can be the devil and the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords of Aquarius energy, also represented by the Star card, by worldly standards, it looks like you got it going on. And the devil can be, wow, you got it going on in the world. You look like you have things that other people want and could envy or be jealous of, or just have a lot of kind of things of the world that people want, maybe stability and security. Capricorn is earth sign energy also, which is the devil. It just has all those things kind of that we thought we wanted in the world. And then we could go pursue those things. And then, it's kind of realizing that, there's that Bible verse, if I have all these things of the world, but I don't have love, it's like this resounding gong. And that could be, though, and then it's hard because am I going to stay in it when I don't feel like this is my idea of the dream life in high vibe Aquarius? Is there a lot of things I like about it? Could I love the people? But what if those people are more about being in it and staying in it more because of these reasons of the world, you realize? And they maybe do use their emotions manipulatively. And shadowy fire sign, Aries, they could use their sexuality manipulatively. And they could look like a boss in the world. You kind of look like a boss in the world. Being in a relationship with them, maybe. Have a certain status or image. All those things. And could have had family and children with them. Or they are someone who's in your family. Adult child, brother or sister. But you feel like something isn't right. It's supposed to be working cooperatively from love. And again, feeling like some people could even just like to manipulate people, you know? And it's like, I don't want to feel manipulated in a relationship. So people had to do that work within themselves to love and believe in themselves. Some people did do this, some people are doing this. What's underneath the expectation? Main male, message, thoughts, occupation, which is kind of like Virgo energy. Kind of in their mind, behind the scenes, trying to get clear about their truth. The family room can kind of represent the mind, and the thoughts card is like the King of Swords. In our kind of working with, well, I don't know, whatever way, main male, I guess if we're kind of more motivated and inspired by love, it's kind of to communicate to our own self and our mind that, with the message of concern, that I don't think we harness our Virgo energy the same, and kind of doing that work behind the scenes in your own mind to maybe try to get clear about kind of what your truth is. The privileged lady is like the Empress energy of Libra and Taurus. Taurus can be our philosophy of life, kind of our truth about how we view friendship or relationships, and Libra, what we think is just and fair. And doing this work within yourself, and also in High Vibe, the Empress talks about love. Do I love myself enough to kind of get out of my ego? The High Honor card is like the Six of Wands card. To kind of in the Thief card, to face my fears about standing up for myself. And I kind of view the official person as Emperor energy, which is Aries. And that can be scary, because if we were to tell some people in our life, I think, the expectation card could be, I thought things were going to move forward like this. I feel like probably in High Vibe, people have been trying to be loving and encouraging and supportive of people. High Vibe Libra that they harness, being just and fair. High Vibe Virgo that they harness. Libra, Taurus, Six of Wands, trying to be loving and encouraging, but you're trying to move forward with someone that's like not their truth. Maybe trying to be a good example in their life. Whoever it is, being loving and encouraging and supportive, but we can't make other people change. We can't make people get inspired to do this work within themselves, to grow or heal or mature themselves, or be more just or fair, or quit thinking they should be the more indulged, privileged person in a relationship, or make them stop being more egotistical or prideful or manipulative or whatever. But eventually we can work through it where, out of love for myself, I am going to speak my truth, that maybe I love you, I wish you peace, love, and joy. You should, live your life the way you want, but this is not aligned with my truth, and it makes me sad, and I don't want to keep being sad. And when we do that, we know that some of those people are like, yep, well, later, I'm going to go do this then, or, they'll go align with other people, or go get in friendship or relationship with other people. And sometimes people can be in their ego about that, and you have to work through all of that. If this isn't my truth, odds are the more prideful, immature, stubborn, full of themselves, materialistic, self-indulgent, immature they are, odds are they are not going to be changing anytime soon. They might go wear their false mask with someone else, But you know the truth of who they are. And that, over and over and over, they have probably shown you that is the truth of who they are. And though we wish it could have worked out, if it's not working out, eventually I can't keep staying in denial of the truth. They want to move forward, basically going in the way things are. I would like things to go. Basically, they're standing up for their truth just by how they keep continuing to act and the choices they keep making. You know, it doesn't have to be said verbally, but just by what people do. You see, you know, if you don't think that's just and fair, you think that's shadowy, deceptive, egotistical, manipulative, prideful, immature. They're showing you their truth just by every day by how they choose to, the decisions that they make. Aries of the Emperor is, you know, by the decisions people make. And for the longest time, we keep not wanting to see the truth. Because for some people in our life, it can be really hard to see the truth of it. And maybe at one time they weren't like that. You know, but people change, with the despair card being like the Five of Cups. You know, people are either changing for the better or they're kind of changing for the worse. And there's no guarantee as people going down the road of life that they could start to slowly or quickly kind of drive their life off into the ditch. And then they want you to stay in a relationship where you're staying between the bumper guards of life and not driving your life off into the ditch. And they're like, this is great. You keep being more just and fair and loving and encouraging. Oh, and I'm going to be down here doing whatever the hell I'm doing and acting the whatever way I'm acting. And you're like, I wanted someone who stayed up on the road with me and kind of stayed between these bumper guards of life to not drift too far off into the ditch one way or the other. And that's when we can find out, though, that people do like a more imbalanced relationship. I like you to be loving and encouraging and indulge me in my poor behavior. And so long as you don't love and believe in yourself enough to want to deal with the truth of it because you love me, well, it works for me. So I want to keep doing it. When are we going to stand up for ourselves that I don't think this is just and fair? I need to put work and effort within myself to love myself and believe in myself, to stand up to people who I think is shadowy. And then in turn, we have to stand up to our own shadow nature that wants to stay in it. You know? And it's like, no. I deserve justice and fairness. This is not just and fair. And then I kind of view high vibe Leo energy. I am going to give myself, next to the Empress, which is about loving yourself, I am going to be inspired behind the scenes within myself, in my own mind, to be inspired to offer love to my own shadow nature, to work through all those fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs, to give myself the things that I wish other people would give me, get out of maybe more codependent energy, and stand up for myself. I deserve justice and fairness. So, some people did do that. Some people are in the process of doing it. Some people will get there one day with some of their more mismatched relationships. And then as those people move forward and are moving forward, they had to work through these two energies also, because they don't want to repeat this pattern with someone else. And there's always going to be shadowy people in the world. And if we don't work through what that is within us that could tempt us to get in a relationship with those people, we could do it again. So what is it? The journey and the bad health. So, again, the masculine energies can kind of represent us in our more worldly nature, you know, and then the feminine figure caring for someone. It's kind of like, again, you could just look at it that we wanted someone to love us. And so we got in relationships with people who could appeared as loving and that they wanted to work together with us. We just maybe didn't know kind of what drove and motivated them and their truth. And so now that we kind of know those things and we learn that's High Vibe Virgo, I kind of learned that not everybody's motivated and inspired by love. Some people are just more about themselves. Some people are more immature. Some people are more codependent. Some people are more about the ego and the image. Some people are wearing a false mask, are more full of themselves, whatever. I need to take all those lessons I've learned with me, and I need to get inspired. The Journey card I view as the Eight of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy, which is also fire sign energy. I need to get inspired to, again, love myself and learn to give myself the things that I wish other people, that I look for. More worldly energy or shadowy energy can be looking outside of ourself for something to be the answer. But High Vibe Virgo is kind of realizing the answer lies within me. I need to learn to love me. I need to be a loving and encouraging person to myself. I need to learn to stand up for me. I need to learn to maintain balance within myself. I need to be inspired within myself, like be a good, the Empress and the Emperor are like counterparts, to be a good mother, father, coach voice to my own more immature, shadowy, fearful, codependent, insecure nature, to grow it up and heal it. And then my more loving nature be in the driver's seat of my life. And then my more immature, shadowy nature kind of sits in the back seat. And my more immature, shadowy nature could want all these things of the world. And it's like, we are going to put in work and effort to accomplish those things that we want in the world. But we're going to do it maintaining balance, not indulging poor behavior in ourselves or others, and take action kind of in truth and love, because we want to maintain high vibe energy as being free, knowing your worth and value, being independent, wanting to be in a relationship with other people are in that energy. And then we can be sad that other people in our life, that's not their truth. And some of those people are going to go back and go repeat this pattern with someone else. And again, if there's just more shadowy people in your environment, yeah. Is that a bummer? Yeah. Am I going to do that? No. So, I'm going to keep being inspired. I have other things I can invest my time, energy, and effort into. If for people who aren't in a romantic relationship, there's lots of people in the world who are looking for people to be loving and encouraging to them. I'll be loving and encouraging to the people in the world who are open to working together with me in a just and fair and balanced way. You know? Find some people in the world who are looking for someone to be more just and fair and loving. And then in my high vibe, maybe kind of Capricorn and Aquarius energy, I'm going to listen to my intuition about the people that I currently have in my life, not investing time, energy, and effort more in the people who've already shown me this is not their truth. And listen to my intuition about who like maybe plays the victim, because some people like to do that, and who really are people who also could be sad that they dealt with some people like this. And I'm going to listen to my intuition about who's who. So what's coming up for some people? And there'll always be shadowy people in the world who want to be like the next person to indulge in a relationship with you, for you to indulge them for whatever reason they have. And you could be sad that there could be so many people in your environment, it seems like, who are more all about these other things and aren't being authentic and loving. But keep being inspired to love yourself. Keep working together with your truth. And eventually the people who... It's kind of like the devil eventually has to let you go. And the people who might be more deceptive or manipulative, they could be sitting there sad because you're staying over here, maintaining, being independent, knowing your worth and value, maintaining balance within yourself. And eventually they're like, damn. And they go to find someone else. And then it's kind of like you've worked through it and let's see what's coming up next. And the Five of Cups can be seeing the truth that some people who you felt like you missed an opportunity in love with, you didn't miss an opportunity in love with them, because kind of seeing the truth that they don't really do love anyway. And you keep taking that cup of love to get over that and mourn the loss and the regret of it, and that some people are shadowy. But you freed yourself from deceptive, manipulative people. And just kind of going through the grieving process. But you're on a new journey of healing. And you kind of look at the bad health card as kind of like the Four of Swords of Libra energy to get the justice you deserve. Sometimes there's just shadowy people in your life hoping you won't love and believe in yourself and you'll be sad, and then they can kind of swoop in and they won't take action towards you until they think you're sad or in despair, or you go out doing this and doing that, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll get in a relationship with you. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. Just maybe going through a difficult time. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Aries energy? Working with the people in your life who do work together with you in a just and fair, loving and encouraging way. What's coming up for you that you might not see coming? The Nine of Pentacles and the Seven of Cups, and it was kind of hiding behind the Nine of Pentacles. And the reason is because of the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. The Nine of Pentacles can talk about becoming independent of something, and the Seven of Cups was kind of behind it, which the Seven of Cups is also Scorpio. But it can be the illusion. The illusion that we were caught up in about people. And the reason is because of the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. You did this work within yourself. You completed the work. You completed the healing. You freed yourself. That is not in your own Virgo nature, and maybe you're Libra and you're Sagittarius. You could have been somebody who, because you could be a loving person, was always more, oh, look, there's someone who's like sad. I'm going to be loving and encouraging to them. I'm going to try to help other people heal. Well, that's great. We can be a loving and encouraging person to help other people heal. But we have to see when some people, it's kind of, they really don't want to heal. It's like, fill up my cup of love. And you fill up their cup of love. You turn around, they dump it out. And they say, fill up my cup of love. And you fill up their cup of love. And you go on your way and they dump it out. And they say, fill up. They never do this work within themselves. They're not motivated and inspired within themselves to heal. They're looking, their ideal relationship is to find someone who's loving and encouraging person who will keep investing in them to try to help them heal. But they're not motivated and inspired to heal. But you keep playing that role in their life. And it's like, I want to be in a relationship with people who have healed. And though they're, or I don't want to be in a relationship with people who are immature or bossy or controlling. You finished the process. You completed a cycle. And you don't want to be in a relationship anymore with people who, it could have all these things of the world, but it's not kind of more aligned with truth and love and growing and healing and maturing and tempering your ego and being more independent of the world or other people or your shadow nature. You've become independent of being more manipulated by your own more worldly nature and other people who are more caught up in making decisions more from their worldly nature. And as you work through that, you become independent of it. And then from the Five of Cups to the Seven of Cups is taking back the Two of Cups. I can be a very loving person. Earth signs are on the opposite side of the zodiac wheel of the water signs. And so that can talk about that you could have been more imbalanced, where you could have been a very loving and encouraging person, but it had you out of balance. And now that you've become more independent and you've gotten more balance within yourself, it's requiring relationships be more balanced. No more illusions of love. No more manipulating my more loving nature. I've gotten more grounded within myself to see the truth. Is being loving and encouraging good? Yeah. But it has to be just and fair and balanced and loving. And that can be hard for people who are very loving and giving. And they kind of like playing that role in people's lives. But if the other people aren't in that energy also, then you're not in relationships with people who work together with you the way you work with them. And so you'll be ready for this new beginning. Because within yourself, because you were kind of maybe tipped out of balance in either being over loving or too not wanting to see the truth about people who are more about themselves or the world and things of the world, you're more balanced, you're more independent of being manipulated by your more worldly nature, and more inspired to be in more deep, meaningful relationships. And less, I mean, we all, high vibe energy is about a balance. And maybe even becoming independent of some people, either a job, some people in your family, or some long-term friendships, or something is kind of what the Ten of Pentacles is. Something that you thought, you could have had a long-term plan of how you were living your life, and you realize, oh my gosh, I made all these things so important, but I'm missing love. And then it's healing from that and detaching from your more worldly foundation. And then when you detach from whatever manipulated you, you're kind of willing to become independent of people in your life who want to be in friendship or relationship with you, but they want you to be in this more worldly, shadowy energy. And it's like, I can't do that anymore. I'm inspired to get balance within myself, to love myself, stand up for myself, live my truth, get out of being more caught up in the things of the world, or my ego, or my image, or my want for these things of the world. I believe if I put work and effort into my truth, acting with character and integrity, treating other people the way I like to be treated, that I will find people who are in that energy. And I'm not looking for other people to validate my worth and value. I validate my own worth and value. And I'm not looking to the world to try to get them to view me a certain way. I know who I am, and that's how I'm going to go out in the world. And the world can kind of judge away, and some people won't want to be friends with you anymore or hang out with you anymore. It's like, well, you have free will to do what you want to do, and maybe I kind of see through the illusion of who you are. Maybe, some people who aren't more independent, who could be in situations in their life that are more about these other reasons, don't like other people. Well, I don't want you to go have your dreams come into reality when I got myself in this. You should get in a relationship like this, and you should get in a job like this, and you should live your life like this. Look how happy we are. It's like I tried to live my life that way. I thought that would make me happy, and it doesn't. I'm my own individual. This is my truth. This is who and what I want to invest my time in. And if that's not your truth, I don't try to tell you how to live your life. You go live your life. But if you have a problem with me living my more authentic truth, then I'm sad, but, I'm not going to let someone stop me from living my truth in love and what's aligned with my truth. You do you. You live your life the way you enjoy it, and I'm going to go live my life the way I enjoy it. And I think as you do that, other people in the world will see that you're more independent, that you are more tipped in favor of hope and faith and belief in love. And some other people who are in that same energy will want to be in friendship and relationship with you. And again, so will some shadowy people. And you'll just listen to your intuition about who's who. What's coming up for the people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Aries energy that they might not see coming? The Chariot, the Queen of Pentacles, the Tower, the Nine of Swords, the Judgment card, and the reason that came out is because of the Queen of Swords. Well, they could always be surprised when other people, again, Aquarius energy represented by the Star card also, some people are really caught up in themselves or these things of the world, and that's why they kind of get in the friendships and relationships that they do. Shadowy Chariot and shadowy Queen of Pentacles can be that people are more invested in wanting to be maybe in relationships or marriages, either to feel more stable, feel more balanced, the status, the ego, the image of it. And other people are willing, to let those things go because that isn't the driving factor in their life. Do they want to be in friendship and relationship or maybe marriage? Yes. But it's not more for these reasons of the world. And they eventually see the truth that some of the people in their life, that is what drives and motivates them. And in their Gemini nature, the Nine of Swords, which is about our dualistic nature, they're not more about themselves. They're not more defensive. They've worked through their pain and heartbreak, because Queen of Swords can talk about our past pain and heartbreak and being defensive. They loved and believed in themselves and invested in themselves to align with their more hopeful, believing nature. They got out of feeling betrayed, being caught up in their ego, and they keep moving forward. And shadowy people could always be shocked that other people do that, because they are more manipulated to be in relationships for these other reasons. And in reverse, it can kind of mean extremes. Some people don't look at life from a higher perspective, and they can be surprised when other people do. In our dualistic nature of Gemini, of our free will, we can feel like, I don't believe I have anything else to work with than these things of the world. And these things of the world are the most important thing. I need to be in a relationship or a marriage or career or all these things. And the most important thing, extremely, is to either be more about me or look victorious and successful in the world. That's the whole point of being on this planet. That's what the world tells us, is victorious and successful. And some of those people buy into it. That's the most important thing in their life. Doesn't matter if they love that job, love those people, or, just so long as they have what looks like what other people have. And other people are like, well, that's not my truth. I do believe I have other things to work with. I believe that I was given my unique talent, skills, and interest. In my Aries energy, my creative, inspired, intuitive nature, my loving nature. I think I can work with high vibe energy, like God, and I believe that if I invest in myself and love myself, and don't stay angry and betrayed and bitter or whatever about things that didn't work out, and I keep having hope and faith and belief in myself and high vibe Gemini energy, I believe that God's going to take, it's kind of like there's karma built into the system. And I don't have to stay angry or upset at people who might be hurtful or unkind or whatever. I think if that's the kind of person they are, it'll all come out in the end. God kind of takes care of that. And that can be shadowy Aries where people kind of think, no, I need to get judgment. No, I need to get revenge. No, whatever. And other people are like, no, I think God will take care of it on its own. I think it's kind of built into the system. And other people don't believe that. So, again, and other people are able to let it go. I think karma takes care of it. I need to live my truth, hold myself accountable. And the people who that's not their truth, that's not their dream, they're more about the world, I accept the truth of it. The Tower can talk about the truth. Judgment card can talk about the truth. Our dreams are different. What drives and motivates us is different. I'm able to accept the truth of it and get out of my ego about it and move on. And some people can never let go of those things. And some people are still wanting to be in relationships with people who don't want to be in a relationship with them because they're still in their ego about it. Why doesn't that person like me? Why doesn't that person love me? Or getting in relationships more for the status, ego, and image, and they're very unstable and up in their head the whole time because the whole reason they want to be in it is for these other reasons. And they're really fearful that one day the people that they're in a relationship will realize that they're not in it for truth and love. And it's just someone else they're trying to manipulate. If you're not being just and fair and being authentic and treating people the way you like to be treated, but some people want to keep staying in denial of that truth. Oh, they won't leave. Oh, they love me. Oh, they're up in their head about calling judgment on me. Oh, they want this dream to work. They won't ever leave or kind of distance themselves from me or become more independent of me. Well, judgment day comes one day when people say, this is not my dream. I'm done putting in work and effort into this. I had been investing in it because I love you and I wanted this to move forward, but I accept the truth it's not moving forward. And I've done this work within myself to get out of my head about it and accept the truth of it. And I'm calling judgment on it. And those people move on. And the shadowy people don't want to see the truth, don't want to look at life from a higher perspective, maybe don't want to listen to their intuition, don't want to connect in with their feelings, whatever. Unwilling to see the truth. So they go repeat the same pattern with someone else. Unwilling to maybe take accountability, unwilling to have some more hope and faith and belief in themselves or others or in love in high vibe Aquarius. And there'll be other people who are willing to be in a relationship with them, other people who lack some hope and faith and belief in themselves or love, who call judgment on their high vibe Gemini dualistic nature, who are more emotionally invested in being about themselves for these things of the world. And they could move forward looking very victoriously and successful in life. It's just that they kind of stole from themselves. They had the potential to free themselves from things that manipulate them and to really be a leader in the world, being more independent of their ego and their fear and their lust and their greed and their more immature codependent nature. And they didn't. Other people did. And they had the possibility to do that too, but they didn't. And that's okay. Everybody has the free will to manifest whatever they want to manifest that they view as victorious and successful. They could just be mad. I think shadowy people want to try to trap a more loving person in a relationship with them, but they might end up having to be in a relationship with someone who wasn't really who or what they wanted to be in a relationship with, because they could be in a relationship with someone who's more like themselves. Someone else is, and nobody has that more hopeful, believing, loving spirit. Nobody maybe wants to hold themselves accountable. Everybody's being kind of more in it for these other reasons and just trying to indulge and manipulate the other person to keep staying in it. And because those things manipulate them so much, they'll be willing to give up their dreams of maybe what they did want, or being more hopeful and believing in themselves, and stay in something that might not be their dream because they're stressed of being judged. They're stressed of communicating the truth, afraid of being more independent of something and giving up, you know, some of these things that they love that kind of manipulate them, whether it's things they indulge in, other people in their life that they're not willing to be more independent of because they're more codependent on that friend group, their original family, something else, other people, whatever it is. And shadowy energy can be more living a life of illusion. Look how wonderful my life is. And other people aren't living an illusion. They are who they say they are. They're less manipulated by these things. I guess it depends on more of what you value. So there you go, Aries. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.